Dudes, what is happening? Summer is here. It is sweltering out. I got the fans going. I got my wah-wah. on. This is Trent's Comment Corner. Let's not get distracted. This is Trent's Comment Corner. Not Comic Corner, Comment Corner. And that means that I answer your questions and your comments that you post in the video, any video on my channel. I do this every Friday. This is one of the things that I do if you tune in and if you're a subscriber. And so today is Friday, July 6th, 2018. This week I posted two videos. One was a interview with the excellent and brilliant Nick Cole, my personal hero and the author of Galaxy's Edge, well, co-creator of Galaxy's Edge, and also the author of SodaPopSoldier, which I did the covers for a couple of both of those things. I just do a lot of covers for that guy. But anyway, if you're a creator, that video is an essential, just a golden ticket, man. He dropped so much knowledge in that one video. Is unbelievable. Second video that I posted, the war between concept art and illustration rages on. It rages on. And I'm just throwing more fuel on the fire, brother. So I've been a concept artist for 15 years working in games at AAA studios. I wanted to shed some light because I keep getting submissions from people who don't really know what the concept art is. What's the concept art? I just thought it was cool paintings. Well, yeah, it's partly that. And I go into detail on that one. That video is blowing up on the internet. So it's already up to like 10,000 views. What the heck? My channel is just blowing up. So a lot of the comments are going to be focused on those two videos. I do have some more videos coming up. Just nothing was ready. Really busy working on some cool stuff for you for next week. Okay. All right, dudes, let's jump into your questions. Let's do it. Let's mosey on over to YouTube, the comments, to YouTube, the comments. Inspirax 1234 says, "Hi Trent, for people that haven't gotten a first job experience in the industry, how should we prepare our portfolio to match the production pipeline? And how do we even first do that research without knowing where to start or to search?" Inspirax, you're both a gentleman and a scholar. The thing that you got to realize is that it's not about just getting a portfolio that looks like you know what you're doing either. You have to know what you're doing. So the quest is not to get experience or get a portfolio that looks like you know what you're doing. You should learn to know what you're doing. The best thing I can suggest is go onto TigSource or go onto Game Maker Studio forums and offer your art services to indie developers. Yes, just partner for free. They probably don't have any budget for their projects. Just work on some projects with some friends and say, hey, if it makes money, we split it. You know, that kind of a thing. Get some experience making games, whether it's mobile or whether it's something bigger. You could go to the Unity forums and offer your concept art design skills to those smaller Unity indie developers for free. Yes, because you're looking to get involved with their project. Maybe work out something where there's profit sharing, you know, if there's any profit to be made once the game is released. From those people, just observe what they need, you know, and bury yourself in things like my box sets of tutorials. By following my channel, you're already 10 steps ahead of most people who don't really know anything about what concept art is or what that pipeline is. I'm tuning a lot more of my content more towards the pipeline of concept development for games. So now's a great time to subscribe, and now's a great time to start picking up my box sets. I mean, the 2018 box set is gonna have a lot of crazy, amazing stuff in it. It already does. It's already maxed out. There's already over, what is the limit, 60 gigs of content in there? That's massive. And it's only July. I know when it is. It's July. Specifically, I do have workshops on how to tailor your portfolio to get jobs. The core of the concept artist job is to know what a modeler needs. So find a 3D modeler that's doing cool character design, cool character models, and offer to partner with them to make some cool models and ask them what they need. The biggest thing that you could do is look up character concept art turnarounds on Google. Do that. Do what you see. Michael X says, Ikeda looks like Super Meat Boy. Mission accomplished. If you like Super Meat Boy, you might like Ikeda. I am adding some neat new features to make it a lot more unique. There has been an update to Ikeda in the last week. So there's a new stage now and a lot more bug fixes, so it's a lot smoother and a lot more enjoyable, I think. I'm playing around a little bit with some of the game design stuff, but I think I've got something way better now. You'll see in the next iteration. I'm actually very excited. There's a new feature that I can't wait. Learning Curve says, finally, now I understand what concept art actually is. I see a lot of people on YouTube who seem to think that concept art is just art that's done fast. I didn't know that. This always confused me until now, thanks. Concept art is just fast art. Some people believe this. Oh my gosh, I have so much more work to do. I have to spread the good word. I got to let people know what concept art really is. And you guys got to help me. 432 Heck says, can you explain why sometimes you switch from Sketchbook Pro to Photoshop? Oh boy. Man, here's the thing. I do whatever I need at the time. So Sketchbook Pro has a couple of features and brushes that I like that Photoshop they just don't have. And so sometimes I'm just like, hey, I really want that one brush or that one smearing effect or that one really noisy spattery paint effect that Photoshop just can't do. Or I don't have those brushes in Photoshop. So I jump it. I jump it right over to Sketchbook Pro. It used to be that I would skip between Corel Painter and Photoshop, but I haven't touched Corel Painter since maybe 5 years. It just started crashing on me a lot. So I guess it really boils down to the fact that I'm always playing with different programs. I mean, I spend a lot of time in these programs. You got to understand. It's literally like 7-8 hours a day in either Photoshop or Sketchbook Pro. Or Camtasia now for making videos. So I'm just learning all the time, and that's if I don't stop to like try out a new program, for instance. So the best advice that I can give to you is find what works really well for you in the one program that you do like to use. Sketchbook is free though, so you could just swing on over and give it a try. Divine Spite says, the only person who offers art school program on YouTube that I know or that I would buy from is CubeBrush nowadays, because Mark Brunet worked at Blizzard for a few years, so he should be a solid example. Yeah, Mark Brunet is a cool dude and a really talented artist. I think a lot of people have learned just loads of stuff from this guy. I believe that his role at Blizzard was a character modeler, but he does know that concept art pipeline. I think that he does sell concept art type of tutorials because those sell. And I know that he probably did a lot of concept art for his own designs at Blizzard as well. I never personally worked with him, but I know him from a lot of parties and barbecues and things that I go to. We're acquainted, and we're not like tight. You know what I'm saying? But I would say that Brush Boost is probably going to be a good resource for getting tools that are going to help you to shortcut your skills, to boost your skills. And probably you're going to get more reliable information from a place like Brush Boost or the Fengzhou School of Design. And I'm not just saying this because these guys are my friends. I mean, they're legit developers who've had industry experience. And I didn't mean to shortchange, some people's abilities. You can learn a lot from every artist. But if you want to learn to be a concept artist, you should be learning from concept artists or people who know game development pipelines. Danielle says, thank you for this video, and I do have a question. Does being a concept artist require that you draw characters and environments, or can I just focus on characters, for example? Danielle, you can. And I know some concept artists who just do characters. They just do monsters. But the problem is, what happens when your team no longer needs any more monsters? Technically speaking, the last year of game development on Diablo 3, we didn't need character concept art. It was pretty much all done. So what did we do? Well, I jumped into doing like some texture work on 3D models. I jumped into doing prop designs and user interface type of stuff. And so you kind of have to expand to become as effective as you can in all different angles. You're going to want to be as diverse as you can so that you can cover as many things as possible. Then that way you're employed even when they don't need you. They can just be like, well, hey, this person's a really good artist in general. Maybe we can have them try out doing a pass on the user interface. Hey, maybe we can have this guy try out doing a pass on the armor designs as well as the environments that we hired him for. The more versatile you are and the more a broad range you have, the more employable you are, which means more money, which means more jobs, which means more security, which means you could actually have a family and a normal life being a concept artist. If you just focus on, say, like, I only do anime characters and I only do girls, if your portfolio is only that, you might be amazing at it. And that's a viable career path if you just want to do YouTube or tutorials on, or if you want to build a following to just do that one thing. But you're limiting your opportunities dramatically by doing that. You're not. What do you do when they no longer need any more anime characters for their game? They just fire you or lay you off. They let you go. Don't be that guy. Learn as much as you can. Be a sponge. That's why I cover all of those things. I try to cover as many different things, from 2D to, like, I even do some 3D tutorials in my box sets, man. I try to cover as much as I can to make you employable. This is embarrassing because I'm Ukrainian by descent, but I can't read this. I had to put it into Google Translate. Victor Gavrilyuk says, sometimes I feel like my understanding of concept art is wrong, and doing nice photorealistic renders is now more important than presenting ideas and making a lot of different sketches and explorations. I'm so glad to see videos like this one. This ensures that the time I've put into developing my designs wasn't wasted. That's right, Victor. I think you got to keep up the good fight. Keep pushing to get great ideas into your concepts. Also, at the same time, boost that rendering skill, because sometimes you might be applying to a studio where that art director just has a thing for photorealism, or he has a thing for highly rendered type of art, and or maybe you're applying for a gig where they kind of want somebody that can do a little bit of both. And so it's good to have both, but the focus of what a concept artist does, if you don't have good ideas in there, it don't matter how pretty that painting is, because the rest of the team is going to know. They're going to go, oh, this isn't an interesting idea. You also have to serve the game design, and that comes from, sometimes doing little cutaways from, for example, a great thing for a budding concept artist to do would be to pick a game that they love. Like, say you love Diablo 3. You know what? Hey, man, I just designed this new area. This would be a great addition to put into my portfolio. This is like a cut scene from Diablo 3, a cut area, and here's all the concept art from it. And you could go online and look up concept art from Diablo 3 and find a lot of the stuff that I did or Sojin did. It's another thing you should recognize. A lot of the environment modelers will contribute concept art as well. So it's a very valuable ability to have, to be able to contribute the concept art even from the perspective of a 3D modeler. Lady Date says, I gotta say thanks. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the tagline of the video, I was curious. I'm going to art college specifically for illustration. Not long after I started there, the school opened up a concept art department. And most of the class requirements for concept art were the same as illustration until you got to the end. And I wasn't sure why. So for 3 years now, I've been wondering what the difference was. Thanks for clarifying that for me. Well, Lady Date, you're lucky to even have a university that tries to teach the difference or tries to teach concept art. When I was trying to get into this field, there was nothing. I think it was a complete mystery. And I think there were only probably 5 concept artists working in the entire video game industry back in 2002. So it was a very uncommon type of a thing. It's surprising that it's still a bit of a mystery. And I feel that I have a little bit of a responsibility to try to show you guys a little bit more of what the process of doing concept art at some of these game studios is actually like. So that's actually why I've been tuning a little bit more of my content towards making sure that I'm revealing a little bit more of that behind the scenes process for some of you guys that are still in art school, or you're thinking that you might want to get into concept art for games. Megan Rutten says, I hope I said it right. Oh, wow, this was something. I'm an illustrator, and I've been trying to pass myself off as a concept artist. Oh, boy, do I feel like a noob. Thank you for this info. This was great. Here's the thing. Is it Megan or Megan? I'm assuming it's Megan. It's not wrong to pass yourself off as a concept artist, but if you're applying for a concept artist role, that means you should have orthographics, turnarounds, or breakdowns in your portfolio. In the film industry, though, for instance, like that is concept art. In the film industry, they paint over very realistic looking models. Film is 2D. So you don't need to necessarily have an understanding of how things break down in 3D to put something into a movie. You can just have something that only works as a crazy, highly illustrated 2D thing, and that could work. But for video games, you definitely, if you're concept art for video games, you need to be able to show the turnarounds of orthographics and things like that. Otero Studio says, my question is that I recently applied to Nickelodeon. I had everything minus a reel. I know it's different from concept art. I applied for storyboarding, but I wasn't sure what a reel was. Maybe it's my ignorance, but that you would be able to answer that. Well, Otero Studios, I mean, if you're asking what a reel is, you should know that if you're applying for a job in the animation industry. It's a video that showcases your portfolio in motion, so to speak. And you should know that. If you're going for storyboards, though, then what they're going to be looking for is the flow of panel to panel, the camera setting, like how well do you tell a story visually without words. So an animatic, for instance, is going to be really useful for them to determine whether or not you are going to be able to communicate camera flow and scene flow. And there's a lot to learn there, from everything from how to communicate the camera pans, and I'm sure you already know a lot of this stuff. But you're going to have experience doing that. Check out some of my favorites are to watch the animatics from Mad Max and some live action camera or live action film work. Check out their animatics, which is basically the storyboards in motion. That sort of a thing is going to, I think, really go well when you're applying for an animation role or a storyboarding role in an animation studio. I personally, I only did storyboards for a while. It's kind of like comic books, but for me, it wasn't as exciting. It takes a lot of brain work. It's a lot of exhausting mental work because you're imagining full 3D scenes with all these actors and characters and motion going on. And how do you capture that? What's the best camera angle for that? You're constantly asking yourself. It's a huge amount of work. But if that's your thing, you study guys who've already been doing it. Study the best and emulate what you see. That's a whole different field, though. Darko Krekuj says, I noticed that Japanese studios treat concept art differently from Final Fantasy over Monster Hunter, Dark Souls to Devil May Cry. Yeah, I think concept artists in general are treated very differently in Japan. I'll never understand why some guys are just touted as genius concept artists for things that they did 25 years ago in Japan. But we just sort of throw out our American concept artists because they can't render with photo bashing. I don't understand. In America, oh boy. But what matters is are you employable now? And I think that sometimes getting a lot of prestige can be a problem for you because it keeps you from really growing anyway. But I think your point is more that a lot of times they focus on simple line drawings that are flat colors so that the modeler, they do more orthographic type of stuff. That's true. When you look at the Monster Hunter concept art book, my God, you see the real behind the scenes look at what concept art is. Because those guys get it. They understand model sheets. They understand good design in your model sheets, in your orthographics. The Monster Hunter concept art books, I'm never without them. I always have them in my studio. Arna Banerjee says, hello, Mr. Trent. I've been watching all of your videos and they are super awesome. I wanted to ask you, how much possibility is there for an Indian guy like me to ever get a job from Blizzard or Naughty Dog? By the way, I'm 20 years old. Thanks for the video. It's so helpful. Arnab, you know what, man? I think that it's totally possible. It's really not out of the realm of possibility. You have to work very hard. If you're in India, you have to find a way to start making games. If that means working with mod groups or indie game developers online, it doesn't matter where you are in the world anymore. These studios don't have a problem hiring people from all over the world if they are talented enough and if they bring enough to their project. You're going to have to really step up your game and have some high quality content, though, and that means studying the heck out of those guys. And I think Blizzard and Naughty Dog are very different goals. With Naughty Dog, I would tune my portfolio to be more like photorealistic stuff like you see in The Last of Us. I would study those behind the scenes videos. I would study their concept artist process, find out who their concept artists are, and look up see if they have tutorials. Follow those tutorials. Focus your attention on how they do it, because they do it very differently than concept artists from Blizzard. If you want to work at Blizzard, look up guys like Mark Brunet. Look up some of my stuff, my Gumroad box sets of tutorials. That's what I try to include in there, is as much information on the game development pipeline as possible. Understand the studio that you want to apply for. Stay laser-like focused. Get really good. And if you're amazing enough at what you do and you know your craft, you can have a job opportunity, I think, at either one of those studios. You can accomplish your goal, though, if you really want that. If that's what you really want to do, it's not impossible. I've seen a lot of people do it before you. So this has been a long comment corner. I'm gonna wrap it up here. It's been like 25-30 minutes or something like that. Got a lot of editing to do, a lot of painting to do today, a lot of new workshops coming in. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. As always, if you do have comments or questions, leave them in the comments field below the video. That's we're going to talk about that next week. Leave the best questions at the top. Upvote those best questions. If you see a comment that you really want answered, just give that a thumbs up, and I think that moves it up to the top, and I see it more. All right, dudes, that's it for me on this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.